Have you ever just got tired? You did everything that you needed to do in the week, and your body just felt all of the energy that you put out. Hey y'all, I'm taking a little nature. I'm at Griffith Park in LA, and I just want to take y'all on one of my favorite paths. One of my favorite little hideaways in LA is Griffith Park. It's very popular, very chill location, very demure, very laid back. And so sometimes you just have to step out of life. Now, when that happens for me, in the past, I used to just push through and I didn't recognize when my body had enough. But what happened over the last few days, I kept having this pain in my shoulder and my neck. And it literally felt like somebody was like sitting on my shoulders. And I couldn't figure out why, what was going on. And so, as I've been sharing, I've really been listening to Spirit lately. And I asked, like, what's going on? Because I was thinking, like, did I tear a rotary cuff? Or, because I'm always thinking, like, okay, this is going to be something that I'm going to have to deal with. Sometimes I always think about not the worst case, but just a case, so that when whatever shows up, I have already anticipated it and figured out how to work it out. So anyway, today it just Spirit told me to take a nap. And I took a 30-minute nap, and it felt so good. And I felt refreshed. And of course, I woke up, not of course, because I haven't even had an audition in so long, but I woke up to my agent calling me, telling me that I had an audition, which I thought was interesting. And it's for a show that I was really excited about. And so I looked at those audition materials, I worked on the lines, and I figured, hey, let's go to the park now. Nope, I did one other thing. I decided to take a shower. And not just any shower, but an Epsom salt shower. Now, Epsom salt showers normally clear off all negative energy. Because that's what I also was thinking about. I was like, maybe I picked up some negative energy somewhere. Because that happens. Actually, I went to a little bar, and that's when I really felt my shoulder hurting. So maybe I did pick up a negative energy. I don't know. But anyway, my spirit also led me to take that Epsom salt shower. And so I took the Epsom salt shower. Now, what I do in my Epsom salt showers is I normally get in there and, wash off regularly, cleanse myself, and then I start talking to the salt. I start telling it what I want it to do, like remove all of this negative energy, whatever's draining me, whatever's happening with my shoulder, like release all of these toxins that are around me in my environment. And so I do that, and then I allow the salt to sit for like a minute or two. So I just stand in the shower with all the salt all over my face, all over my neck, all over my body, and I just imagine the negative energy just kind of releasing. And so I did that, and I just allowed the negative energy to release. and the negative energy releases. It seems like every time I do an Epsom salt shower, I feel so much more relaxed. I feel so much more high vibrational. Like I feel my woosah. And so that's what I did. And do you know, as of now, my shoulder isn't hurting. As of now, I'm not saying it's not going to start hurting again. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying as of now, it's not hurting. And so it worked. And so then I just kind of looked over my lines and figured I got it, because lately I'm working on just not over stressing over anything. I don't want to stress over anything, y'all. I want the job, but it's not that serious. It's not worth my health. It's not worth it. So I'm just going to do the best I can and, keep looking at them, running the lines, making sure that I know what's happening and what's going on. And so then I got in the car and I listened to a podcast, not my podcast, a podcast that I was a guest on, y'all. And so here's the story. The story goes a little something like this. One day I was at home and I was kind of in prayer and meditation, and I was asking for guidance. I was like, what is it that I've been dealing with? Like, what is this? There has to be a root. Now, I know the root is trauma. Now, we know that. But there has to be something else. And so what was dropped into my spirit was the term self-addiction. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. It makes sense because, self-addiction. Like I've always thought that I may have been narcissistic, and not because I was like a greedy, all about me type of person, but I knew my focus was on my survival and my needs and my wants and what people are saying and doing to me. It was a lot of me. But every time I asked my therapist or therapist that I was working with, they would assure me that I was not a narcissist. They would assure me that. But I was like, no, something is going on. Something is happening. And so about a month or two ago, the spirit, intuition, gut, the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call it, brought the term self-addiction up to me. And I felt very intrigued. It spoke to me. It said, oh, I think that is something to explore. So I looked up the word and I discovered that it was a real word. Because I thought that it was just something that I had creatively made up. And so I discovered that it was a real term. And so I started researching it, and it made so much sense to your brother. It felt like this is what it is. This is what I've been dealing with. And so then Spirit said, well, I want you to write a book. I want you to write a book so that you can research it, but so that you can also help somebody else, because maybe there's other people who are out here who are dealing with this thing and they think that they're a narcissist, but they're not, but they're still dealing with something that is traumatizing them, that is affecting them. And so I said, okay, Spirit, okay. And it said, and I want you to call it, their eyes were never on me. Because that is the crux of the problem. That is the crux of the challenge. Because if you've never had people in your childhood who were focused on your needs and your wants and taking care of you and mirroring you and helping you and guiding you like consistently, you may develop a self-addiction or narcissism, you know? And so the difference between self-addiction and narcissism, the main difference is self-addicts have empathy, and it's not really about having an inflated sense of yourself. It's really just about being hyper-focused on your wants and your needs and your survival and trying to take care of yourself and just really trying to get validation and approval and all of this under the guise of trying to take care of yourself and trying to make sure that all of your needs are met. And you get so focused till you miss out on life, you miss out on relationships. It's just like an addiction. And the challenge is a lot of self-addicts are successful, but it's at the price of their health, it's at the price of their relationships, it's at the price of their enjoyment of life. And so the Spirit told me, Dwayne, write the book, name it, Their Eyes Were Never on Me, One Man's Painful Journey with Self-Addiction. Tell your story and holler back at me. And so, y'all, I'm an A student. When Spirit tells me to do something, for the most part, your brother gonna do it, for the most part. And so, and I also said, okay, well, if you want me to write this, you write it through me. You just use me as a vessel. I'm just a vessel. Write it through me. And it did it. And it did it quickly. So I completed the book. And I read the book. I was touched. I was moved. I was educated. Just between y'all, that made me cry. But, you know, it's my story, so I'm sure I ain't saying it's going to make everybody cry, but it made me cry because I saw and experienced that painful journey. Like, I really got a chance to see what I had been dealing with, you know? And so afterwards, Spirit said, now I want you to promote it. I'm like, promote it? How? It said, go on some podcasts. Go do some podcasts. How am I going to go do some podcasts, Spirit? Google, ChatGPT, ask for some podcasts that are related to this subject, that will be interested in this subject. I said, okay, so I did that. And then it said, write them some query letters. I did that. And I waited. I got rejected from one podcast, and it hurt my little feelings. I'm gonna be honest. It hurt my little feelings. I'm gonna be honest. You know, because I don't like rejection. I don't like rejection. Does anyone like rejection? Who likes rejection? Does anyone like rejection? I mean, we work through rejection, but do we like rejection? I say not. And I did not. So I said in my little feelings, feeling a little way, feeling a little, I don't know, I just didn't feel good. But I didn't stay in it for too long because I know about self-addiction. And so self-addiction was like, nope, don't go to that pain. Because that's another thing self-addicts do. They go to pain. They're addicted to painful spaces and places. And so now that I know that, whenever a painful place and space in myself or in something else shows up, I go the other way as much as possible. So I was like, whatever, moved on about my life. And about a week later, I get an email from this podcast called the Addicted Mind Podcast. And the lady was saying, we got your material and we would love for you to be on our show. Yay! Yay! Go Spirit! Spirit doing it. Spirit was doing it. Spirit was doing it. So then I was like, wow, so now I have to go on this podcast and talk like I'm an expert about this subject that is new and fresh to me. Wow, I was very, very nervous. And I didn't tell anybody because, again, I did not want to trigger that self-addict. I wanted it to be cool and smooth. So I decided to just research. I mean, I started writing notes down. I started researching. I started pretending like he was asking me whatever. I started role playing. That's what I started doing. I started role playing as if I was the interviewer. And I would walk down the street and imagine him asking me something and what I would say back. And, I was making sure that I had my notes all around me, because the interview was audio. It wasn't video. So I made sure that I was protected. I was protected. And made sure, the environment was right, made sure everything was had some of the music. Well, I didn't have music, but I just made sure that the environment was right, incense. Just made sure that I was like in my comfort zone. So the day of the interview, everything was beautiful. Started the interview. Dwayne Osterlin of the Addicted Mind Podcast is an amazing, relaxing guy. Of course, he's a therapist, so he does this. And so he set me at ease. And we had the conversation, and wouldn't you know it, right at the last question, my power from my computer goes off. The computer powers down. And I tried to fix that job, but guess what else? Once the computer powered down, the whole internet went out. The internet went out, y'all. The internet went out. And I'm like, what is going on? Why of all days will this happen on this important day? The internet went out. But I was so proud of myself, y'all, because I did not overreact. I emailed and told them that my internet had went out. I called his assistant, told her, and she's like, it's fine. It's fine. Do you know when it's coming back on? No, I don't. And so I waited till it came back on, and it came back on. And we finished the interview. And I was so proud of myself, y'all. So proud of myself. So proud of myself. I mean, I literally had to like give myself a pat on my back. I was like, you did that. You did that because you trusted Spirit to lead you, and it led you, and it took you on this journey, and you trusted it, and you made a way, and it happened. And the good thing was I recorded it, and so I was able to listen back to it, and I really liked what I heard. I was really pleased with myself. And so today, the whole point of the story is today, I finally listened to the complete product because now it's up, and feel free to go listen to the Addicted Mind podcast on iTunes podcast. And people are talking now. Feel free to go listen to the Addicted Mind podcast. My episode, Dwayne Barnes. And I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of everything about it, y'all. I'm so proud that I'm trusting Spirit. I'm trusting myself. I'm so proud. I'm so proud, y'all. So go listen to it. And thank you if you made it all the way to this point, because I know I've said a lot. But hopefully I said some things that inspired you. Hopefully I inspired you to trust your intuition, trust Spirit or the divine or Jesus or God or whatever you call it. Hopefully that's what this is about. Hopefully you got that message. And hopefully you got the message that when you trust the divine or Spirit or God or whatever you want to call it, all things will work together for your good. Because right now, oh, and guess what? Soon as I got through listening to the aired podcast, I checked my emails and I had somebody who joined my subscription list, and they sent me this long email just telling me how much they were moved and touched and blessed, and that they went and bought my book. Their eyes were never on me. One man's painful journey with self-addiction. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Sometimes you got to praise. Hallelujah. Sometimes you got to praise. Sometimes you got to praise. So thank you for listening to me, and do me a favor and watch some other videos and subscribe and all that good stuff, because my life is courageous. And I think yours is courageous too. And do me a favor and drop me a line and let me know how courageous yours is, your life is too, because I know you got stories as well. Drop me a comment and follow me and watch more of my videos and go buy my book. It's an ebook. It's a quick read. And I'll talk to you later. All right. Back to my walk. Back to nature.